Hi friends, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. This is a channel where I typically like to make videos about books as well as videos about homeschooling, mostly book related. Today's video is the first video in my series that I am running on this channel. So I posted an introduction video for this series that should have gone up yesterday morning. So take a look at that if you want to. But the gist of it is I have compiled these lists of books that I want to read. I've either been recommended them in person or I've researched them. I've really found out which ones I'm interested in. And so I just thought I would share. I thought this is a perfect season where a lot of people are home, where a lot of people maybe have a little bit more time on their hands, and they might be in need of some book recommendations. First day is I want to share a genre that I don't share a lot on my channel, but I do like. So contemporary books. And contemporary books are loosely defined as books that take place in this current time period. So they're not like historical fiction. They don't jump around. They really kind of tackle some current issues. So the first book I have on my list is Love, Anthony by Lisa Genova, and it's put out in 2012. So it's a fairly old book, so you might be able to get your hands on it. I originally heard about this through a fellow booktuber, Katie, Totally Booked. So check her out. I will link her below. So this book has to do with a friendship, really. There's these two women that are in very hard seasons of their life, and they form a friendship. So one of the women has recently lost her son, and he had autism, and so she's processing a lot what kind of kid he would have been and kind of just hard things like that. And then another woman is a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids, and she has been suffering under her husband's long-term infidelity. They end up meeting, I think, in some coastal town. I can't remember exactly which one. And they're both just trying to find themselves and strike up this amazing friendship is what it sounds. And I really like friendship books, especially when it seems like what they really need is just that community. They need other people in their lives. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this book. And the second book that I have on my list is The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. I think it's Picoult. I'm a little unsure how to say your last name. Most everybody has heard of this author, and I've read a number of her books. So this book was put out in 2013. This is a story of forgiveness. It's kind of the overarching message. And so it's told through this woman who is a bit of a loner, and she's processing grief. Like, I think her mother just died, and she owns a bakery and she bakes, and she's part of this grief counseling group, and that's where she meets a friend of hers, and he's an older gentleman. They strike up this really sweet friendship where he comes into her bakery and they just get to know each other. And then it sounds like he shares something with her, something that's hard, something that is heavy, something that she doesn't quite know what to do with. And it sounds like he needs to work through forgiving himself, but I don't know what that thing is. And so I'm really excited for it. I mean, I have loved all her books. So the third book I have on my list is The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia, and this was released in 2015. And this is a story about a girl whose brother commits suicide. So that is definitely some trigger warnings. It's told from her point of view, the sister's point of view. It's told as she starts processing through how this changes everything. It changes her relationships. It changes her relationship with her parents, her boyfriend, all these different things change. She's the girl whose brother committed suicide. But on top of that, on the night he committed suicide, I think he sent her a text message of some sort, and she hasn't told anybody, and for some reason I think that she's carrying some guilt. I don't know what the message is yet until I read the book, but I think it causes her to feel in some way responsible, and I think the book is about her processing through that and hopefully how she reconciles that it isn't her fault. The fourth book on my list is Beartown. It was published in 2017. I have seen this book float around BookTube for a while. Katie over at Life Between Words has had wonderful things to say about it, so I'm looking forward to getting to it. It is a book about a small town that's kind of hockey focused. I have this team who's really good at hockey. They could potentially go to state, and it's kind of a small enough community that it matters to everybody. I grew up in a small town. I can resonate with the fact that it really does matter to a lot of people. So this team has a chance, and then something horrific happens. This does involve sexual assault, and I usually try not to read too much of this, but what drew me to this book is it's not just the immediate players wrestling with this horrific event, it's the town. It's all these different points of view, the mother of the son, all these things that have to do with the hockey team. I guess he's a star hockey player, and how this kind of a thing can ripple out and affect every single person. And I think that just sounds like a just very honest and heart-wrenching book, but a very honest book. The fifth book that's on my list is The Astonishing Color of After. It was written in 2018, so it's a more recent book, and it is fairly popular. It is, again, about suicide. So I just realized that I had two on here about that, but it is about a girl whose mother commits suicide. And she is of the impression, or maybe this is how she's dealing with her grief, that her mother actually turned into a bird. So you can see there's a picture of a bird on the cover. So this girl ends up going to Taiwan to visit her mom's parents, so her maternal grandparents. And this is the first time she's ever visited them. And she gets to learn a lot of things about her mom, a lot of things about like kind of family secrets. And so while she's in Taiwan, she's like searching for this bird that she thinks her mom turned into. So my guess is the story is about her process, how she processes the grief. It sounds very interesting, and it sounds very heart-wrenching, but also kind of charming. The sixth book I have on here is The American Marriage, and it was put out also in 2018. And this is a story about a married couple, a happily married couple, a recently happily married couple who have all these plans for their lives, and they have all these things that are going on, and then this event takes place. The husband is wrongfully accused of a crime he did not commit. We know that from the beginning. That is the truth. We're not going through the mystery of the story, that he was wrongfully accused, but he was sentenced to prison for 12 years. So the story is about the wife. It's told from the point of view from the wife as she struggles with how does she live her life? What does she do? Does she wait for her husband? Does she just keep everything the same and then wait 12 years? The back cover says, so this isn't a spoiler, that he gets released early after 5 years for some reason. He's expecting something. She has changed in certain ways, and I think that's what a lot of the story becomes about, is how they've changed. How can they love each other when they're different? I'm looking forward to that. I think it sounds really good. It sounds really hard to even hear a story of a couple going through that. The last book I have on my list just came out this year, 2020. It's called Onna Out of Order. And this just looks really fun. It is a story about a girl who's 19 years old, and upon midnight of New Year's Eve of her 19th year, she passes out and she wakes up in the future. She wakes up, I think, like 32 years later when she's like 50 something. She wakes up in her house, in her life, that I think she lives out a year, that year. So she lives out her 52nd, I'm not doing the math right, year. And then at midnight of the next year, she wakes up as at a different age. And so she's living her life out of order. And I am a fan of kind of these mixed timeline stories. Like Time Traveler's Wife is one of my favorite books. And that just has this reminiscence of that idea, but I've heard that it's just really a fun, witty, not super heavy book. So here is my first set of books. When I'm in the mood for a contemporary book, I want to pick up one of these. So that is what I have for this video. Please tune in for the rest of the videos this week as I share more of my list, more of the books I am so excited about, and hopefully you can find some good recommendations. And please comment below if you, one, have read any of these and think I should move these to the top of my list to read right away because it's the most amazing book. Or two, have some that you think I might like based on kind of this grouping of contemporary novels. So please consider subscribing, liking, all of those things, and that way you'll be tuned in to catch more of my videos. And I am excited to make these, and I hope you are excited to see them. And I will see you again tomorrow. Okay, take care.